On this episode, the one clause on a counteroffer that I think is stupid. This real estate stuff is not easy, so send me your questions and I will answer them. This is the Ask Jason Show. Hello everybody, my name is Jason Piercey and this is episode 138 of the Ask Jason Show. What? 138? Yeah, is it not? Okay, give me a sec. So go into the folder. It's definitely 140, but yeah, it's 149. It's 149. It is not 138. However, this is 138. I have 138 right here. On this episode, I say excrement a lot. So send me your questions and I will answer This is the actual this is the Ask episode Jason 138. Joe was right. Hello everybody, my name is Jason Piercey and this is episode 138 of the Ask Jason Show. I got it wrong. All right, whatever. This real estate stuff is not easy, so send me your questions and I will answer them. This is the Ask Jason Show. Hello everybody, my name is Jason Piercey. This is episode 149 of the Ask Jason Show. That's almost 150. Congrats. Brilliant. That's a lot. 150 is a lot. Okay, so today I want to talk about something that's been getting on my nerves, about how agents are listing their properties. I have said before that I'm not a fan of the document that we use when we are including the right to do a home inspection in all of our agreement of purchase and sale packages. I've said that before. That's not news. There's a couple of reasons I don't like it. Those are from previous episodes. But the gist of it is I feel that it handcuffs both the buyer and the seller, mostly the buyer, if you use that document. And I'm not a fan of it. But it's the one that we most often use, and there seems to be a fair amount of professional courtesy afforded when we're in situations where the document doesn't necessarily hold up as it should. The problem that I'm having, not that I'm having the problem, the thing that I am seeing that is a problem to me, and maybe others won't care, but I think it's an issue, is there's two ways to avoid this home inspection thing, okay? Like the home inspection report addendum. That's the document we use. There's a couple of ways to avoid that. One, you could not attach it to your agreement, so you don't use that form at all. Instead, you will write a clause in your contract that says that it's subject to you doing a home inspection, that home inspection is satisfactory to you, for instance. And it doesn't list anything that qualifies what the term satisfactory means. So you could just be like, I didn't like the size of the font and the report. It's unsatisfactory. And you walk away from the deal. So it's like an escape clause, kind of, which I don't like, because if you need to put an escape clause in your offer to buy something, then you're not buying the right house. Like, don't buy that house. But I do understand that that's a deeper conversation with your buyer than maybe the agent is having. And not every agent operates the same way that myself and all of the Ask team members operate. So some people use that. And that's okay, I guess, because I would rather know that if they don't want the house, they're walking away, then get into a 2-week-long battle over home inspection stuff that either is or isn't legitimate, and we are or aren't fixing it, or we're reducing price, or whatever. I'd rather just know that it's done and move on. So that's one way. You could use a clause like that. The other way to go about it is what I'm seeing now that I just don't like. I don't like it. I think it sends the wrong message, and it's lazy. And yeah, so I'm seeing more and more houses listed as is, where is, which, sure, I get it. Like, I've had relationships with banks in the past where I would list foreclosures regularly. Foreclosures are listed as is, where is. The bank doesn't know the history of the property. They don't know what items may have been an issue in the past, if there's ever been water intrusion. They don't know if something was repaired or not repaired. They don't know anything about it. So they're like, here, this is what it is. Buy it as it is. We'll negotiate on price, but you're buying it as it is. So if you do an inspection, it's for your own purposes. Of course it's for their own purposes. Why would I buy a house and do a home inspection for your purposes? That's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Stop using that clause. Like, you write an offer and as a listing agent, I counter and say, okay, but the home inspection is for your own purposes. Well, yeah. Who else's purposes would it be for? My Uncle Ken? Like, I have an Uncle Ken. He lives next door to my parents. And he doesn't need a home inspection because he could put an arse in a cat. And even if you do use that clause that it's for your own purposes, that doesn't eliminate the home inspection report addendum that your seller signed. They accepted this. It's for your own purposes. Okay, cool. We know that. That's why we added it to the offer. And the offer is for our purposes too, with the purpose of buying your house. Like, it's ridiculous. So we're seeing more and more people list houses as is so that they don't have to deal with home inspections. And there are times when a house legitimately could or should be listed as is. There are a couple of older properties for sale in Center City now that are pretty dilapidated. And to do a home inspection on them would be a waste of your $700 because you can walk in and say, this shit's falling down. Like, there's an issue here. So yeah, where as is, because the only people buying it are people who are going to put the work into it anyway. So you go in and you look how much it's going to cost. You figure it out and you determine whether or not the math makes sense and you buy it. And if you can get it for the right price, then you get it for the right price. Cool. But just putting your family home up for sale and saying you're listing it as is really lazy. It's really lazy, and whether you intend to or not, it sends the message that you are aware that there's something wrong with the property, that you are not disclosing, and that you have no intention of rectifying. Whether that's true or not, that's the message that it sends. And it reminds me of it reminds me of the way our justice system works. Like, if you're in, say, litigation and there's a criminal defense attorney and there's a prosecutor, and a prosecutor says something negative about the defendant, and the defense attorney says, I object on the grounds that it's irrelevant or whatever, and the judge says sustained. The jury still heard it. Like, it was still said. They still heard it. Yeah, strike it from the record, Mr. Juror. Okay, but I still heard that when he was 12, he stole candy bars. Like, I still heard it. I know he has a history of stealing candy bars. So the great candy bar kidnapping episode of 2021 now seems that much more likely. Whether you sustained or overruled the injection. Injection? Maybe he has a candy bar addiction? Yeah, sounds like a pretty harsh punishment for candy bar theft. Lethal injection. So that's what it reminds me of. So whether you actually know there's something wrong with your house and you're unwilling to disclose it, or whether you just aren't interested in going through the home inspection process. If you say your house is as is, it's a red flag. It's a red flag. And one step further, if you are selling it to somebody who is going to put a mortgage on it, they're going to finance it, running behind. That's okay, me too. That's okay, me too. If you're selling to somebody who is going to put a mortgage on it and they're going to put 5% down, which is very, very common, it's fairly normal in our market, and they're going to need a mortgage, and the bank looks at the MLS listing to determine the loan to value. So they look at the listing, it's listed for whatever amount, and they review that listing to see, do we feel like this makes sense? Like, do we lend somebody 95% of $300,000 for this house? And they do that. They have an automated system called the Emily system that it runs through to determine whether or not they like the loan to value stuff. So when they do that, if the listing is advertised and it's highlighted that it's as is, that's a red flag for the bank. The bank is like, whoa, what's wrong with this place? Oh, nothing wrong with it. It's just like, we didn't want to get into the home inspection thing, really. So why? Well, it's just like, we don't want to renegotiate on price again after they do an inspection. Why? What's wrong with the house? Oh, nothing. Then why are you concerned about the inspection? Well, it's not that we're concerned. Well, clearly you're concerned because you made it a big deal. We just told them it was for their purposes. Yeah, we know. It's also for our purposes. So, no, no, because now it's flagged. And if you list a property for sale that says great for a flip opportunity, nope, flagged. Default mortgage insurance is not going to insure it because they're like, something wrong with it. Something wrong with it. And the bank is not going to insure it, or the bank is not going to mortgage it because they're like, no, we're going to get into a 5-year term with somebody who's going to break their mortgage immediately. Nope, not going to make any money off that. Nope. Stop listing stuff as is. Like, you don't need to. And stop saying your inspections for your own purposes and only your purposes. Well, yeah. Like, like so do one of two things. Either use the crappy form and go buy the letter and make sure that when you buy a house, you read each of the lines of that home inspection report addendum because you need to know what your inspection is for. If you want an escape clause, don't buy that house. Don't buy that one. Why do you want to escape? What are you afraid of? If you feel that buying a house, putting it on contract, and then before you're meant to actually move into it, you will want to run away, then don't buy it. So that's mostly a rant, I guess. But given that this is sort of like real estate advice, my advice is if you're selling your house, tell the truth about it. Your mom was right. Honesty is actually the best policy. Tell the truth about it. If there was a problem, if you had water in your basement during Heakern? I was going to call it Heakern Ogre. If you had water in your basement during Heakern Ogre, wow! Hurricane Igor. Don't be afraid to admit you had water in your basement during Hurricane Igor because Hurricane Igor killed people. You got a little water in your basement. Cool. Has there been any there since? Because it's been like, what, 15 years? How long was that? Long? Yeah, it's been a while. Have you had any since? Okay, I care more about that. Of course you did. It was a 1 in 100-year storm. Yeah, you got water in. Okay. Do you know that doors that go on new homes right now, exterior doors, big, expensive, $3,000 kits, are warranted up to 60 kilometer an hour winds? 60? Maybe 8. Might be 80. I could be wrong. So, yeah, of course you got water in. Like, you're not... We didn't evolve to like live hanging off of the cliff over the frigid North Atlantic in the middle of the ocean with like 200 kilometer an hour. What is happening? 200 kilometer an hour winds. Like, it's just not meant to be. So if you're listing your house, just let people do inspections. And if they kick up a stink about the house after the inspection, make a judgment call. Is it worth the fight, or should you just go sell it to somebody else? Or, in the beginning, hire the ask team and we'll pre-inspect your house. It'll be done ahead of time. That's how you get away from the renegotiation thing. Hire the right people to give you the right advice. And if you're buying, always get an inspection. Always. But how you use the inspection in your deal is dependent on what your goals are. If you're using the inspection to get a better deal, you paid too much when you wrote your offer. And if you're using the inspection as an excuse to run away, you shouldn't offer it on that house. Like these are, like, I know it's 149 episodes, but like, I feel like this is the elementary here now. Like it's, right? Joe, this could have been episode 1. Except episode 1 was horrible. There was no director Joe, and it was just me, and I filmed it on like my laptop, so it's like looking up my nose, and it's me saying that I'm Jason Piercey, and this is episode 1 of Keeping It More Real Than Real Estate. And it was lame, but it was, what is this? My hair was short. Yeah, my hair looked, I was kind of like this, except I had like one curly spot that was like here. It's probably not exactly like this, but it definitely wasn't like this. So, I got a lot of hair. All right, I think that's it. I don't know what else I could say here. Thanks for watching. Get your houses inspected and inspect the houses you buy. And if somebody tells you that it's for your own purposes, just say, yeah, I know. That's why I'm doing it. See you next time.
The Ask Jason Show exists so that you can get good real estate related information from a resource that you can trust. Now, speaking of resources you can trust, here's a couple I would trust to work with my mom. Because good enough for mom, I mean, good enough for you.
I just scratched the inside of my ear.
Why would you do that?
I didn't mean to. It hurt. Anyway.